What's some juicy gossip you just found out in your personal lives? I was told that my great-grandfather kept the family farm in business by blatant and repeated acts of insurance fraud. I just found out that one of my work colleagues who just returned from a 2-week expensive holiday with his wife in Iceland has just found out his wife has run up about $50,000 debt on numerous credit cards. I know a guy who got his friend to marry him so he can get a green card, except his friend was already in a relationship. Not only did my friend get married, he also inherited a boyfriend-in-law. Now the three of them live in the same house. Some girl in our year at school posted on Facebook the other day how her boyfriend had supposedly cheated on her. They had a full-blown argument in the comments just on Facebook for everyone to see. Yesterday she posted a picture of some keys tagging her boyfriend in it saying just bought our first house together. One of the girls in our group of friends has never really gotten over her ex that left her 3 years ago. She will often bring him up when drunk and it has really hampered her dating life. He lives thousands of miles away, and today he posted a picture of him sitting with an attractive dude getting coffee. They are holding hands and their legs are touching. We were all sitting around the TV hanging out when she saw the picture. Shell shock is the best description for her face. My soon-to-be ex-wife and I separated in August 2018. She decided to end the marriage because she concluded that I would never trust her after she had an affair for more than half of our 15-year marriage. We tried to reconcile for 2 years, during which time she repeatedly told me that she had changed and that she'd never lie to me again. But I kept catching her in lie after lie. Now, she is seriously dating a guy since at least December, and she's cheating on him with another guy. Remember folks, she has changed. We got a new boss like a year ago at work and we've been hating it. People are getting written up for petty it and suspended and losing their bonuses. I'm a good employee, but this stuff finally caught up to me too and I got written up for getting injured at work. Long story. I don't play. So where it said employee comments on the write-up I said see attached and typed out a 3-page defense talking about how I thought it was unfair and how I thought people had been getting treated unfairly for a year now. The next day I got called into a meeting by my boss, and his boss, and his boss and an hour rep so they could grill me about it. By the end of the meeting we had all figured out that it was actually the HR rep who had been screwing with people for a year now. And the anger shifted completely away from me and onto her. I went around and told everybody about it. We're going to make the sitch pay. Karen from spin class has a new rice cooker. My neighbor's cousin broke into her house and stole 37 guns. Also I learned my neighbor owned at least 37 guns. My co-worker makes $10 an hour, works part-time and pays for her live-in. Still married. Boyfriend's rent and child support cause he's broke. She just found his bank receipt showing $17k in his checking account. An ex-friend of mine from high school is now in the middle of the second divorce. Apparently it's because she cheated on her second husband with her now current boyfriend. This is the second time she's cheated on her husband and I'm curious if she'll marry the current boyfriend and then cheat on him. My cousin has been together with his wife for 14 years and has had a girlfriend for just as long. Neither of them knew about the other. He got caught because of an image on Facebook. His wife's sister posted a family picture which my cousin was in and got recognized by his girlfriend's sister's acquaintance. He got away with that for 14 years. Commenting from my other account. A couple that we have been friends with for a few years now. Both very normal people with vanilla jobs. Took a trip overseas that was supposed to last a week. Not unusual for any of our group of friends. No one had heard from them for close to a month until we found out they've been arrested on the other side of the ducking earth trying to smuggle out close to $1 million for an international drug cartel out of the country they were visiting. When we heard the news we were just sitting there quietly in disbelief for about 5 minutes. This woman I know is dating a very shady guy. She's nearly 40 and desperate. So she overlooks a lot of the red flags. All her friends think he's an asshole. He claims he disappears every now and then because, get this, he works for WikiLeaks. He is married to someone. He claims that they got married only for visa purposes and they only ducked like a few times. He has citizenship now. but they aren't divorced because of some paperwork stuff involving, you guessed it, WikiLeaks. He vacillates between having her attend his family events and declaring that he doesn't believe in marriage and kids. Though, of course, he's married already. He recently suggested they be in an open relationship. She has always wanted marriage and kids, so it surprised me she got on board this relatively easily. I suspect it's because she wants to hold on to him. Manager is having threesomes with 2 servers. My 2 friends just found out they have the same sugar daddy. They had both been under the impression that they were exclusive with him. One of my sister's friends from her sorority had a mental breakdown on her 2 roommates. Of all the crazy it I overheard, the best part was when she got in her car and proceeded to ram into the back of one of the other friend's car, over and over, for almost 2 hours. Like, they got security camera footage of her ramming the car, backing up, and doing it again for 2 whole ducking hours. Amazing. Just found out that my brother, who divorced his ex-wife a year ago, got married to a new woman in secret. I mean secret as in that he hasn't told his own kids about it. 10 and 12 years old. He hasn't told us either, rest of the family. My mother just accidentally said it to all of us. So now we know but are to pretend we don't know. None of us have met his new wife that we don't know is his wife but still know is his wife. Friend is getting married next weekend. They've been together a few years and have a 2-year-old son. At his bachelor party, we were all poking fun at him on whether or not he was ready, it-faced or sober. He is 100% committed to them. Another friend of mine is close friends with the bride who is apparently questioning everything about their relationship, and has repeatedly stated that he's not the type of guy she ever imagined seeing herself with. I have a co-worker I'll call Jess, who always talks about her kids in detail and asks for favors because of her kids, i.e. picking up shifts, asking for rides, etc. One of our other co-workers' son goes to the same bar as said girl. She doesn't know who he is, and one night was spilling her gut about how she always takes advantage of her co-workers and that she doesn't even have kids. She doesn't know that we know. Edit. Thank you so much for all the comments, golden suggestions. I will definitely update everyone if anything interesting develops. Apparently for years my parents have told my teachers I have a learning disability. I didn't know I had learning disability. I don't think I have a learning disability. I asked them why and they said it takes about $1,500 off the cost of my university tuition from some government grant, so I guess I have a learning disability. Update. I asked my parents more questions about this and I apparently got tested when I was young and have a legitimate learning disability diagnosis. My parents aren't committing fraud. They knew all along that I was diagnosed and I just recently found out about it. We just found out a 16-year-old intern at my work is dealing drugs, including heroin. My hairdresser is leaving her husband and 5 kids to marry an Italian basketball player. Some time ago some girl jokingly said she wants her BF to get her pregnant or else he will leave her. Guess who's unexpectedly pregnant? A guy from my small city in Scotland fled to California and tried to fake his own death. Manhunt underway. He's wanted for 24 counts of rape. Recently got my ancestry DNA results back and found out I have a half-sister of a different ethnicity, as a product of my father's cheating ways. My ex-wife and I finalized our divorce last June. She's giving birth in a few weeks with a guy she was cheating on me with. If it was anyone else I wouldn't care as much, but since it's this guy, it hurts. Oh, and she email invited me to buy them gifts off of their baby registry, so I'm trying to think of the most petty item I could get, though I know I shouldn't show I give her it. Our pastor was having an affair with his cousin's wife. One day while giving a sermon the cousin storms into church, tackles the pastor and starts to throw haymakers at him. The cousin's wife is trying to pull her husband off the pastor. The pastor's wife quickly figured out what was happening, ran up and clocked the wife from behind, knocking her out. People are trying to separate everyone. Total chaos. That my uncle left my auntie for the phonetics line worker he was calling for the last 3 years. One of my female friends, who looks like a slightly classier version of Courtney Stodden, confessed to me that she enjoys the thought of two hot, shirtless men fighting over her. She said she is considering goading her boyfriend into fighting some random dude who keeps slipping into her DMs. I just found out that the guy who sexually assaulted me 10 years ago in college had the crap beat out of him by some of my male friends a few days after. They never said anything to anyone at the time because they could be expelled for it. Edit: for those wondering, there were multiple witnesses to the act. The head chef at my work has worked there for 34 years and is retiring. His stepdaughter is a server there as well. New sous chef will be replacing head chef. New sous chef is sneaking into head chef's house at night to F head chef's stepdaughter. New sous chef has a live-in girlfriend of like 6 years and is daddy to her kid. My mom, who worked 30 plus years in IT, after getting laid off from her last job decided she was done and retired. Well, last week she got a job at a clothing company as a cashier, getting a lot less money than she did in IT. This really isn't juicy gossip lol. Except that friends and family have been calling me and fishing for details as to why she is re-entering the workforce. Most seem to think she's in some sort of dire financial straits, and I can only imagine the chatter they have among themselves regarding it. Well, gossipy friends and family, no need to worry. My mother is in a great financial situation. She's just gotten bored during her retirement and wants a part-time job to keep her occupied, get her out of the house, and provide for some interaction with other people. Friend, who I'll call Joe, is 12 years older than his girlfriend, who I'll call Jessica. They met when she was 18 and he was dating someone else. We'll call her Mary. He cheated on Mary with Jessica. Mary went psycho. They broke up and he and the Jessica got into a relationship. The next few years, she'd sneak out of college to meet him. Her family didn't like him because he was so much older and thought he was only in it for her money. Somehow they made it for 9 years. A year ago, he said in some social media post that he was single. 2 months later, he announced his engagement with a young woman. Talking to friends with more familiarity of the situation, it turned out Jessica had to put up with a lot. Mary continued to be psycho and harassed her lot. This was because she was 34 and was planning on having kids with Joe before he cheated on her, and so she considers Jessica her life ruiner. And Joe apparently cheated on Jessica as well, triggering mental health issues in her. After a psychotic episode, they broke up, but then he wanted to settle down and have kids. So he proposed to Jessica, and she accepted. Now they are planning a big ass wedding. I can't wait for the itch how it's going to be. One November day, my mom took my sister and I put so we could help her pick out gifts for our kids. I asked why a cousin of ours who adored children never had any of her own. This led my mom into a deep trail of juicy family stories. The most unexpected was about my grandma. Apparently, a married man had pursued her, and they started a short affair that left her pregnant. She was the teenage daughter of devout Catholic immigrant parents, and they essentially hid her in the basement the entire 9 months and forced her to give away the baby. They also threatened the dad with the mob to get him to stay quiet and pay for medical care. My grandma lived most of her life depressed over what came of that child. My mom took an ancestry DNA test about a year ago and found the woman. She had been adopted by loving parents who have since died. She's started coming to our family events, and my grandparents are more than pleased to have her in their lives. My grandpa has called her his daughter on multiple occasions. Also, both of my sisters have cheated on their husbands with guys they met at the gym. My husband is only very stressed by this trend. Editing to add, don't worry, y'all, I run for exercise, and I mainly use it for alone time, and to eat more pizza. My friend has a birthmark on his D. My ex, after 1 week of being single, started dating this SoundCloud rapper. Now she's pregnant with twins. We're still in our teens. My idiot friend lost $1,000 because he got tricked into a scam. He bought one of those mystery boxes off of eBay and all he got was a brick. I just found out my neighbor has been having an affair with another one of my neighbors and the kids figured it out. I used to see them go jogging sometimes. That my brother asked my mom for a $1,000 for rent. She gave him $1,400 so he could also pay back a loan. Then he turned around and also asked my dad for $1,000 for rent, which he also gave him. He then turned around and used the money to buy tickets to Burning Man. My parents aren't going to lend out any more money without talking to each other first. My work requires everyone in our group have security clearance. It's boring work and the most basic of clearances. Wednesday a co-worker's desk was completely cleaned out. We were told she lost her clearance and was fired. Weird. Her BFF spilled the beans later. Turns out Sharon had met a man online and they were madly in love. And she cashed out her $401k, her life savings and a second mortgage to send to him. She's 67. To no one's surprise he is not a real person and it was all a scam. He claimed he was royalty from Nigeria. Work found out when she started borrowing money from co-workers and it made its way to our boss. It's very sad but still. WTF, she was around when the whole Nigerian email scam was around. She should have known better. Eater. Grammar. A co-worker of mine is marrying a girl he met in Europe 6 months ago so she can get a green card. He wrote a character reference letter for himself as my boss for my boss to sign. This dude doesn't have a fixed address. He just wanders all over the place until he needs money. It actually sounds like a fun existence if it wasn't so intensely privileged. And on the home front, my boyfriend keeps getting messaged by straight guys from his old fraternity who seem to want to try gay stuff with him. I'm guessing my boyfriend is the only openly gay guy they know so they try to use him as some sort of on-ramp to gay stuff. Last night this guy messages him and it quickly went from hey bro long time no see to I want to worship your black cock in just a few beats. Some of these dudes have wives and children. My sister might not be my sister. My dad is having an affair. Just found out 30 minutes ago. Mom is devastated although I had my suspicions. They've been married for 46 years. Dad is 73. One of my workmates found another guy we work with on Tinder, but he's married with a 3-year-old at home. And his bio and photos said nothing about any of that. My gran has a brother who I've never heard of nor met, who lives in London. They lost all contact over 30 years ago after my granddad died, and he spent the money my gran sent him for transport up to Scotland for the funeral on drugs. My mum told me this over Facebook last week. Not recently, but the biggest is that my aunt got arrested a while back for embezzlement. She didn't do any jail time, I don't think, just has to pay it back. This isn't much of a surprise though because after the roof of the Blockbuster she managed collapsed she stole all the candy lol. My ex and I divorced because he came out to me 18 years into our marriage as bi. He thought if he could just try it once he'd get it out of his system. His exact words. I gave him a hall pass, knowing deep down this was who he was and he wasn't going to get it out of his system. He ended up cheating on me with Randus from Craigslist, etc. When we split, we told everyone we grew apart. My adult kids don't know and I promised never to tell. Our friends don't know. Just me. He's now happily in a relationship with another woman but still hangs out quite a bit with a guy I know he's been involved with. He says for him it's just physical and he doesn't ever want a relationship with a man. It's been a tough secret to keep. This girl I once did hard drugs with on a rooftop 2 years ago kept posting a lot on social media about her life falling apart. She said her boyfriend dumped her because she finally got revenge on her rapist. I had no idea what that meant. She posted about drugs for a week, then they got back together and she seemed okay. Then she posted a positive pregnancy test and her boyfriend were posting a lot about being excited to raise their child together. Then it was silence for a couple weeks. Then it was back to her drinking and drugging and everything about the baby was deleted. She is still together with her boyfriend. But as someone who doesn't talk to her anymore and only sees what's posted online, I don't know what to think. Maybe she lost the baby? Or maybe realized it was a result of her rape? No idea. My sister is pregnant with her 3rd child. 3rd guy. The first father, capital V, is awesome. He has custody of both their child and her 2nd. No biological relationship to him. The 2nd baby daddy has apparently been threatening my sister and V after learning of the 3rd child and that V took her in. V and my sister still have a functional platonic relationship at this point. And due to fear of reproach from the 2nd, and maybe the 3rd, V has taken both kids, my pregnant sister, and his own so with him out of state to make sure there's no reproach from 2 or 3. V is one of my favorite humans. He treats the second child like his own, despite no longer being in a romantic relationship with my sister since 2010. Dude is as good as they come, in my opinion.